southern portion of the county. The worst of it is through the Bedford and Mitchell area, and this is now pushing into far western portions of Jackson County. You see a little bit of the curvature here of the rain and the storms. That is basically showing you these winds that are kind of coming in behind it, and you get that little bowing effect, and that's the winds kind of pushing the storm forward, and that's where you could see some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and that's why you are under a thunderstorm warning. As we come further to the north, thunderstorm warnings now extended into Muncie as well as Newcastle. That's hot off the press here from the National Weather Service. Carmel, Noblesville, some very heavy rainfall, but as you come back, you can see lighter rain here in Frankfort as well as Lebanon. Danville, you're starting to clean up. I saw some damage reports from the county seat there in Hendricks County. Some limbs down and some power outages getting reported. And then as we slide again further to the south, Martinsville, you're basically out of the warned area. But essentially what's going to happen here is, Kyle, we're going to continue to see these thunderstorm warnings likely get issued all the way to the state line, and we'll have the threat of severe weather now in eastern locations for probably at least the next 1 to 2 hours.
And Todd, we've been showing you those storms. This is as it moved through Speedway earlier, Main Street. There you can see those trees swaying in those strong winds, and you can see the rain just getting swept by the winds as well. We've seen multiple reports of trees that have come down or been split. This is Putnam County, and there are some of those trees that have come down. And then Judy, if you can remind me if we know what road this is. Okay. We don't know exactly what road that was, but you can see that tree has come down, and that obviously creating some issues as we are in the heart of the evening rush hour. Also causing some problems, we talked about this, the power outages across Indianapolis have grown exponentially. Now we're talking about 26,000 people who are without power in Indianapolis, Marion County here alone from this line of thunderstorms. That's no surprise as we saw that line of storms moving in from the west, and we saw power flash after power flash, probably about 3 or 4 of them in the span of just a few minutes out there. So we are going to have to continue to deal with that. That also means we've got a lot of traffic lights that are going to be out here, and now it is 5 o'clock, just after 5 o'clock. So we're talking about some major issues out there for the evening drive and a lot of cleanup for people as well. There you can see some of the storm reports that we have had. The dark blue circles are wind gust reports. Indianapolis had a 71 mile per hour gust report. The lighter blue here, that's anywhere that we've had some wind damage reports here over the last few hours as these storms have been moving through, and they continue to do so. Things improving, as mentioned, in downtown, but you can see on the east side and moving into Hancock County there, that is definitely where we've got some of those strong winds now kind of punching out into the Greenfield area. Also there in Madison County. Anderson, you've got one thunderstorm that's kind of developed out ahead of the main line, so you haven't even gotten into the strongest of the winds with that main line of thunderstorms just yet. And this is also going to be moving toward the Shelbyville area for us here. So we're continuing to see this line of thunderstorms again moving pretty quickly, and what we'll try and do here is see if we can get a little bit of a line and draw and show you here what we've got going through Greenfield towards Shelbyville. And then again, these are moving very quick, so we'll continue to push that kind of out toward the state line there. And you can see moving toward Anderson here in just the next few minutes. We already talked about you've got that one cell out ahead of the line, possibly some small hail in that one. Shelbyville at 5:15. There's Greensburg as we get to 5:40 this evening, and then Richmond. We're approaching the state line, getting this out of here by about 6 to 6:30. Things should be improving for you. Looking, and we've been talking about some of the velocity, some of the rotation that's been indicated here, portions of Monroe and Lawrence County. Not seeing that too much, but we do see a little bit of red and green here, not too far apart from each other in northwestern Jackson County. So we'll keep tabs on that one for you as well. And of course, the roads, that's definitely something that has been a little bit of an issue out there today with all those showers and storms that have been moving through. Not only have we had the very heavy rainfall, but also those strong damaging winds that have been moving through as well. So we'll clear this, and then I'll track this part of the line of thunderstorms. But again, as quickly as they're moving now through the Nashville area, kind of have to extend out our view a little bit. So we'll take them about 55 miles per hour. There you go into Brownstown, about 5:11, Seymour at 5:20, and then Batesville. So that'd be getting out of the WRTV area here as we approach 6 o'clock. So Todd, things will improve, but we've still got a little ways to go.
Yeah, we do have a little ways to go. And take a look at this. I-70, this is just east of County Road 400 West as you start to work your way over towards the Greenfield area. And you can see, one, the camera shaking, and two, how slow the traffic is moving, and rightfully so, because visibility-wise, you can't even really see too far off in the distance. And this is why I was kind of warning everybody before we got to the 4 o'clock hour with this line of storms kind of making their way through central Indiana to stay off the roadways through the evening drive. And this is exactly why. In fact, it looks like maybe some people are just pulled over on the side of the road there in the far left lane and not even moving at all compared to some of the other traffic as you get closer to the median. If you're just joining us now, the time is 5:05. I'm WRTV Chief Meteorologist Todd Claassen. We've been tracking this line of storms as it's made its way into now the heart of our state. It started in western Indiana, now moving through the central portion of the state, and it's heading to the eastern side of the state. Not much is going to change for those of you in Muncie, the Greensburg area, down towards Seymour, and eventually over towards Richmond. We've been showing you these different videos of traffic cameras, our tower cameras. We had the video from the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. What you saw in those videos is what you are going to get on the eastern side of the state. That is going to be a lot of wind, a lot of heavy rainfall, and a lot of lightning, although there's not as much lightning on the northern side of this line of storms as compared to the southern line of storms. The yellow polygons you see there, those are the thunderstorm warnings that have been issued by the National Weather Service. They extend as far east right now as Muncie and through the Shelby County area, and even all the way down into Seymour. Those will get extended further off to the east. To the west, in this area where you've already dealt with the storms, your severe threat continues to pretty much be over. You'll still see some rain and maybe a few downpours, but you're not going to see the extremely heavy rain. We'll take you down here to southern portions of the area. Some very, very heavy rain, and this is where we have the biggest cluster of lightning. Lightning obviously doesn't make a storm severe, but it obviously makes it very dangerous. And from Nashville all the way down now into the Brownstown area, far western locations of Jackson County, some really, really heavy rainfall. Heads up, if you're traveling or you know anybody that's traveling on I-65 here, really from the Franklin area down into the Seymour area, this heavy rainfall is about to move in. The picture that I just showed you in Hancock County on the traffic camera, it's going to be a very similar look down there. So if you are thinking about driving, don't. If you know anybody driving on I-65 there, or even US 50 through Jackson County, make sure you just tell them get off the road. Maybe they can find a gas station or a store or something to go into until this storm passes. We'll come a little bit to the north. Downtown Indianapolis, the heaviest of the rainfalls move through your area. Greenfield to Shelbyville, getting the really strong winds right now and the extremely heavy rainfall. The same for Franklin. You do notice here, though, there's not quite as much in the way of lightning within this line of storms, which is always a good thing. And then as we come to the north, this is a really, really heavy downpour in between Alexandria and Anderson. And I would expect, and we'll take a look here, that in this cell there could be some pretty good hail. And there it is, just to the west of Anderson, some hail associated with this. We haven't seen a ton of hail, and any of the hail we have seen has been fairly small, but don't be shocked if you see it. By far, our biggest concern here is going to be the wind. The real strong winds are now making their way into Marion, Indiana, up in Grant County. This will be pushing towards Hartford City, although there's no warning as of right now for Blackford County in the Hartford City area. Back to the west, still raining in Peru as well as Kokomo, but the worst of the weather is through for you. Same for Noblesville and Cicero, still raining, still some thunder and lightning, but the wind threat has come to an end. We'll continue to traverse the backside of this line of storms. Indianapolis, rain coming down, but the worst of the storm is through. Same for Greenwood. And then as we get a little further to the south, you can see where that extremely heavy rainfall, boy, is it coming down there in Nashville, right along State Road 45 and 46 there. Extremely rough go of it, and that extends down into southern Brown County and then into the Brownstown area here as you work your way into Jackson County. If you're just joining us here, 5:09, I should be seeing the news at 5. We're kind of preempting all the news coverage for this severe weather that has been causing quite a bit of damage across central Indiana as far as power outages and trees down. No tornado warnings as of right now. Some of you still under a tornado watch. We have lots of thunderstorm warnings that are in place. The eastern side of the state, you're going to start to see your weather go downhill pretty quickly with the heavy rain and the wind, and as well as the lightning. For those of you in western locations, again, your severe threat has come to an end. I'll show you the tornado watch here quickly. In the National Weather Service, as they always do, they've been trimming the counties out of the watch or the warning once the threat has cleared your area. And I would expect here probably the next round of counties may include Indianapolis as well as Bloomington and Kokomo to get dropped from the tornado watch. What we've been seeing throughout the course of the afternoon is overall it's been mainly a wind event for us and an issue for us here going through the afternoon and now into your evening commute. But there have been a few cells that have had a little bit of rotation. We have nothing that's been confirmed as far as any tornadoes touching down. We haven't seen any pictures. I've been getting quite a few pictures, and thank you for sending them in to those of you out in the Danville area with some trees down. You can expect that here, Kyle, as we work our way from Muncie to Greensburg over towards Richmond as this line of storms continues to move east. And the good news is it's moving east fairly quickly, and so we're not seeing a whole lot in the way of flash flooding across the area. Yeah, Todd, and one of the things that we've talked about, and I know we've heard from a lot of viewers, is that so far this late spring season has been on the cooler side, the damp side for us as well. And so maybe you haven't gotten in that patio season just yet, but I've also seen a lot of that patio furniture has been tossed around. So if you are in areas like Newcastle or toward Rushville, if you have that chance to bring things indoors or secure them a little bit more, because we have still the potential of winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Now, fortunately, the wind potential has come down a little bit as this line was moving into the Indianapolis area. Wind gusts of 70 to 80 miles per hour were possible and even reported with it. Now you can see we've got this line of thunderstorms through Marion, Indiana, all of Madison County here. We've got this one cell while the main line is moving to the east. You've got one cell that's been lifting from Anderson and to the north. That's the one that could have a little bit of hail with it. In fact, we do see this pocket of hail that's intensified a bit. We've got some blues, possibly even a little bit of purple that's showing up there. That's telling us that the hail potential is half with this storm as it's moving to the north. So as it kind of intersects with that rest of the main line, we'll have to watch that, make sure there's no signs of any rotation within that part of the thunderstorm. But there we go in through Greenfield, now moving into Shelbyville here. We've got those strong winds that are punching through, although not the strongest part of this line of storms. That does extend back down into southeastern portions of Johnson County, having moved in and around the Franklin area, and then still here from Nashville into Jackson County. Torrential rainfall, a lot of lightning here, and still you could have winds between 60 and 70 miles per hour. A reminder that, again, if you've got some outdoor evening plans behind this
thunderstorms, you need to wait at least a half an hour from hearing that last rumble of thunder before it's even safe to be heading back outside. Now, with the storm motion here that's been so quick throughout the day, that has limited the flooding potential out there, but still, we're getting very tropical-like rainfall rates. We've had blinding rain. You can see that we've got areas on radar here where we've got some of these brighter greens, and that's indicating here areas like Owen County, indicating about 1.5 inches of rain. Here in Boone County, looks like we had a downpour around 2 inches, and then south of Crawfordsville there, also, Todd, again, about 2 inches of rain. So it's good that at least these storms are moving, because that's a lot of rain, even when storms are moving about 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, very fast forward movement with these storms, and that is the good news when it comes to flooding, and it's also good news as it kind of gets the severe weather in and out of your neighborhood very, very quickly. I've been kind of adjusting these traffic cameras for you, and I'm going out ahead of the line of storms. This traffic camera is in the Knightstown area along I-70 near State Road 109. And this is looking back east towards the storm. So the traffic coming towards you is coming away from the storm. The traffic going away from you is heading into the storm. And so you can see out ahead already how windy it is with the camera shaking. Again, this is in Henry County in the Knightstown, Newcastle area. You can expect what everybody else has been seeing. A lot of wind, a lot of heavy rainfall coming into this area. So I'll leave it on this camera and come back to it as the line of storms starts to get a little bit closer to that area. It's still just a little bit off to the west of the Knightstown area, but not by much. You can see Greenfield, some really, really heavy rainfall. And this is going to impact I-70 now from Greenfield all the way to Richmond at some point throughout the course of the next hour or so. Here's that really strong cell Kyle was just telling you about up in Alexandria. Still a tremendous amount of lightning and really, really heavy rainfall that is in here. In fact, let's see what some of the rainfall rates are coming down. Well, that just gave us the time. You can see the warning there, some lightning strikes. It's not giving us the rainfall total, maybe because it's such a small scale, but nonetheless, some very heavy rainfall there, and that's the cell that also had a little bit of hail. Now, one thing I've noticed here, and a little interested to see what the National Weather Service does, they had been warning well ahead of this line of storms in advance. You can see the warning only goes to Muncie right now and just to the west of Newcastle. I would expect at some point this probably gets extended, but the fact that they haven't extended it already further to the east, they had been warning about 40 miles out ahead of the line of storms with warnings, maybe shows you that that's weakening a little bit. And then as we slide to the south, we do have thunderstorm warnings that have extended now into Greensburg and Rushville area. So Decatur and Rush County, severe thunderstorm warnings. And it's kind of becoming a little more apparent that on the southern side of this storm now is where we're starting to see the strength, or a little bit stronger here to the south compared to the north, which is a flip-flop from where it was earlier. We'll focus on Columbus. You're about to see some really, really heavy rainfall. It's made its way through Nashville now, at least the heaviest of the rain, coming through Bethany with a lot of heavy lightning and heavy rain. Jonesville, you'll be up next too for this heavy rainfall, and then eventually it's going to be moving into Seymour. But I-65 is going to be very difficult to get along here with the heavy rain, especially north of Columbus now, as you can see, into southern portions of Johnson County. From Franklin to Edinburgh, some very heavy rainfall. Columbus, you're about to get extremely heavy rain heading your way with a lot of lightning as well. And then as we come to the north, again, some very heavy rainfall is going to be heading towards the Newcastle area. Let me revisit that camera that I just showed you. Now you can see some of the rain that is now coming down in Knightstown, and the camera shaking. A good idea with that one car. I don't know if they're going to their destination, getting off that exit, but that's a pretty smart idea to do, and just wait for this line of storms to make its way through the area. We'll just kind of watch and see how the visibility here will decrease very, very quickly. And you see the taillights and the four-way flashers of the cars going away from you as they go into that rainfall. Obviously, visibility, ponding on the roadway, going to be a big issue here along I-70 as these storms now enter into Hancock County. And a lot of more people, I think, are going to be dodging onto that exit ramp here to let the storms go through, which is certainly going to be a very, very good idea. Let me put the map into motion for you here on radar. If you've been joining us or with us throughout the course of the afternoon hours, the storms entered the state with a pretty good line of warnings, and that hasn't really diminished at all. We've lost some of the northern warnings here, and that shows you that the southern part of this storm system is now kind of becoming the stronger part of this storm, line of storms, I should say. You'll still see the wind. You're still going to see the very heavy rainfall up here in the Muncie area and over towards Richmond, but the stronger part of the storm looks like it's going to be in the Columbus area, eventually Greensburg and Seymour here. And the warnings behind this line have been dropped. This is a 3-hour loop, so the storms are moving very, very quickly. I'll loop it here for an hour, and you can see the forward movement over the last 60 minutes going very quickly off towards the east. That's the good news. These storms are in and out of your neighborhood. We don't have any tornado warnings out there. This is more of a damaging wind event now that continues to push its way off towards the east. I believe this model is probably going to lag a little bit from what's actually happening right now, and this was the model starting at 5 o'clock, so it's not too far behind. So we'll push it forward, and by, I would say, 6:30, another hour or so, the severe threat will probably be over for central Indiana. The storms will be off towards the east. We'll still have some rain. We'll still have the potential for some downpours, but at least the worst of the weather with the wind and the real heavy rain and the threat of power outages and some damage with trees and stuff coming down should be over as we get into about the 6:30, 7 o'clock hour. And then after that, you can carry on with any outdoor plans that you may have. Boy, how things change so quickly here. In the matter of what, maybe the last 5 to 10 minutes, I've showed you this camera 3 different times and it's been 3 different views. From sunshine to the rain moving in, and now you can just see how visibilities are reduced and how heavy this rain is coming down. And that car too is just heading for the exit there, Kyle. The roadway is not a good place to be, and unfortunately here we are with this line of storms coming through right during the heart of the evening rush hour.
Yeah, Todd, terrible timing, of course, with that line of storms, and we've been talking about the wind damage here. There's one of the areas that the tree just did not win against that gust of wind there in the Carmel area. We can take you to a live traffic camera. This is I-65. This is on the northwest side, I-65 south, north of the Traders Point area. And you can see that tree is down there and obviously blocking and impacting the evening commute there. The traffic is down to 1 lane. They're got an emergency vehicle out there. They're going to try and get that, of course, cleaned up and out of the way. But we're seeing scenes like this all around central Indiana, and that power outage report, that continues to grow. It's now 40,000 people in Marion County that are without power from AES. So it's going to be a chore to get all of that back up online and running. Here you can see so far we've had over 75 storm reports across the state of Indiana today. Hasn't really been hail, just 3 reports from that. Thunderstorm wind damage, though, we've had 44 of those, and thunderstorm wind gusts, so 58 miles per hour or higher, and in some cases over 70 miles per hour. We've had 30 of those. Tornado watch. Things are starting to improve and get chipped away here from the west. So you're in the clear around Crawfordsville, Lafayette, even as we get into Greencastle, but this will be cleared from west to east. You can still see, though, we've got a big part of central Indiana under the tornado watch until 8 p.m. It's a severe thunderstorm watch for you around Richmond and Connorsville. The county shaded in yellow there, and you are likely to see some severe thunderstorm warnings here in the very near future. But there's the back edge of that line of thunderstorms. So even in Indianapolis, things are much improved, but now crews have to get out there and work on clearing things out and also getting lights and power back up and running. Let's show you here where we've got this line of thunderstorms moving in toward Muncie, Newcastle. This part of the line could have some wind gusts around 60 miles per hour here. You can see quite a bit of lightning there between Anderson, Alexandria, and the Muncie area. Not quite as strong with the line of thunderstorms here in Greenfield and Shelbyville, but you can still see that we've got those storms that are going to be moving through town there for you. Let's move back up here because we just saw that some more counties lit up. We've got new severe thunderstorm warnings, including you in Newcastle, the rest of Delaware County there, and also into Winchester now. Severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect, as you could have those 60-mile-per-hour winds. And this is where just a ton of lightning has been with these thunderstorms this afternoon and now into this evening. Columbus along I-65 here, Columbus into Seymour. Don't want to be out there on the roads. We've shown you how quickly conditions are changing out there this evening. Things improving in Bedford now and Nashville. You're dealing with some rain that will start to taper off, but areas like Columbus and Seymour now, Todd, are looking at those 60-plus-mile-per-hour wind gusts here as we march on through our Wednesday evening coverage.
Yeah, we'll probably maintain these thunderstorm warnings all the way to the state line, and then they'll be off into Ohio probably in the next hour or so, but into portions of the Winchester area. Now you're under that severe thunderstorm warning. Greensburg as well as Seymour. Indianapolis been cleared from severe weather. That warning has been dropped, as has the Bloomington area. Looking at the damage reports coming in really over the last, I would say 15 to 20 minutes, a lot more of them now are down to the south. Bloomington down into the Bedford area, over into Jackson County. So that's where I'm going to take you. That's where we have the strongest of the storm moving through. Columbus to Seymour right now, extremely heavy rainfall. This will be moving through Seymour and into North Vernon shortly. So you'll be up next for the very heavy rain. In fact, we can time it out for you and tell you about a few other communities here that'll be impacted. Seymour basically now, and then as we work our way into North Vernon by 5:50, and then eventually a little further off to the east, and you see the thunderstorm warning just got added there to North Vernon. Greensburg thunderstorm warning as we come a little further to the north. One thing that really has changed is less in the way of lightning here from Newcastle to Rushville. Obviously, the storms are still strong enough for the thunderstorm warning to be issued into Randolph County there. And you can see there from Muncie to Newcastle, there is a little pocket there of more intensity as far as the reflectivity from the radar goes. And there's quite a bit of lightning as well. That's the same cell that was producing some small hail, as Kyle told you. Haven't really had too many damage reports across the area as far as hail goes, or storm reports, I should say, as far as hail goes. But the fact that the warning is only for Randolph County here and not Richmond yet shows you that maybe it's a little bit weaker up here, but I wouldn't be shocked maybe if Richmond gets added to the thunderstorm warning. Of course, Richmond is warned by the National Weather Service here in Indianapolis. Once we get to Connorsville and Brookville, the warnings for those counties, Fayette, Union, and Franklin County, they come from the Weather Service out of Cincinnati. And so we'll have to see what they do. But by far the strongest part of the storm system now, and this entire line is moving through Columbus as well as Seymour. If you're in the Greensburg area, if you're going to be on I-74 from Greensburg really over to the Ohio state line, not the place to be here as we go forward. And then as we slide to the north in Newcastle, and let's come into Muncie here. Some really, really heavy rainfall taking place just to the northwest of Muncie. Up towards the airport there, and then as you work your way over towards Gaston and along US 35 there and I-69, look at the intensity of that rainfall that is coming down. Really, really heavy rain there, and we also have again that thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 5:45 for that area. Now as we go into the next half hour or so, we're primarily going to be focusing on the far eastern side of the state. That's where this line of storms will be heading. and you can experience exactly what everybody else has had here in central Indiana at some point or the other. We're all going to have had the heavy rain, the wind, and also the lightning moving through. Thankfully, the tornado warnings that we did have were fairly short-lived, and we didn't have a whole lot to report as far as damage goes, and there's certainly been no confirmed tornadoes that have touched down. Back to our traffic camera as I continue to track this line of storms east. I moved it a little further east of Knightstown, where I just showed you. This is I-70 at State Road 3 in the Newcastle area. Obviously a big interchange there as you get off to head north up into the city of Newcastle, and you can see basically more of the same. We have the wind, we have the heavy rainfall that's been making its way into and through central Indiana, and I would expect that traffic that's moving away from you here, you're going to start to see more brake lights and more four-way flashers coming on here shortly, and then look at that, just kind of lightening up there from the distance back closer to you as this heavy rainfall makes its way again through portions of Henry County.